I'm being joined by an international affairs analyst, Ejike Okpa. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
So both the Democrats and Republicans ratified the continued support towards U.S. allies, with billions of dollars going into it. For many, that's an uncommon gesture. What does it say about the legislature and the way diplomatic partners are being perceived?
Well, at the end of the day, what happens is, when you see how some of these policies are made, it's like making of a sausage. If you see what goes into it, oftentimes you end up saying, "Yeah, I don't want to eat that sausage." But that's just the nature of politics and the policies that drive them. We're in an election year, so both sides is going to try to exert force or pressure on the other side to see who is responsible for something. And in this case, America has unknowingly uh, unknowingly got into this war to support Ukraine, not necessarily because Americans love Ukraine, it's just to make sure that they stand up to Russia. Before now, Ukraine is a very corrupt country, but because the president is a Jewish guy, just you cannot exclude the Jewish influence because now it looks like they have to do everything to support him, even though many Americans don't like Ukraine and don't like the guy who is in there. So that's what you see happening. Election year is a very critical year where Biden is trying to do this in order to, get the support to make sure he wins, come November. But Americans just don't see the benefit of this war to what is going on in our country.
You said that US is trying to stand up against Russia, but then there was a strain in reaching a consensus as per this particular aid. There were disagreements at some point, and the passage of the bill for the foreign aid package was stalled. So tell us, what were the previous concerns of the Republicans? Why were they a bit reluctant in assenting to this particular package?
Well, when a bill is passed, it's usually, the side that proposed the bill, then the other side is going to say, in order for this bill to pass, this is what we want to see happen. So it's the back and forth, it's the negotiation that goes in. And then at some point, this is what they call a compromise bill. No bill in itself is, perfect. Oftentimes, you want to see, the push and the pull. At the end, Americans are going to come to terms, especially in an election year, because no side wants to be blamed for something that may go wrong. And the other side might say, hey, we wanted to do it, and the other side didn't want us to do it. So what you see in this is the Republican, accepting, okay, fine, we're going to go forward, provided certain things are done. And I think the certain things is also, which is not included or not mentioned, is about the border crisis on the southern part of America. And so some of that was some of the deals or the points that enabled, the bill to go forward.
So I guess probably that was why President Biden at some point took a swipe at the Make America Great Again Republicans for blocking aid for months while Ukrainian supplies ran low and Russia received help from Iran, North Korea, and China. So do you think that this help is coming rather late for Ukraine, or you think it is apt?
Look, you can give Ukraine all the American military arsenal. Would that make them stand up and win? I think what they're doing now is to push back, to hold Russia. And then Russia, in its own, persistence, is just watching to see who is coming, to support Ukraine. And of course, America is. The only thing that America is not going to do is to put boots on the ground. American soldiers are not going to go there. But just giving them equipment, and the equipment that has been given to Russia is from the stockpile. And what that will tell you is this: so American military defense industrial complex, because every country has it. America has, the biggest one. Is let's move this thing out of our warehouses, and then we're gonna have, reason to come up with more and ask Congress for more money. That's what this is all about. It's just to keep building on new weapons and giving Ukraine the ones they think are Ukrainian. Ukraine is not getting the most sophisticated of American weaponry. Wow. They're just getting something that, they're just getting something to say, okay, fine, you guys can use this and see how long you can use it to hold back Russia.
That's interesting. Now, when you look at the size of this package, we're talking about $95 billion. Are you concerned about the size of this fund? Because some international analysts feel that it is money going down the drain. Ukraine is using this intervention to protect its sovereignty. We see a Russia that does not look like backing down. We also see Israel that is also tearing into Hamas and its allies with no signs of stopping. So what do you make of what it is costing the U.S. in terms of this intervention that is offering to these countries?
Well, I mean, when we were in Iraq, remember the Iraq war? It was more than what we've given to Ukraine. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not. It's when you look at the percentage. I mean, $96 billion, you know, to U.S. is really not. It's not even a drop in the bucket in terms of military budget and the resources. Now, remember, this is something that's an existing inventory that is being given. Okay, so it may not even affect, you know, our current budget. It's just, you know, let's go give them this stuff and see how we will help them. And meanwhile, it's not a big thing on our taxpayers' pocket, so to speak. But it's something that when the world hears it, especially people who are not in tune to the American budget system and how big this money thing is, or it's not, they'll think, oh, $96 billion is a whole lot of money. It's not a whole lot of money. And again, you know, it's one of those things. I give you something, you have no way to say whether it's $1 or $2. You just accept it based on what I'm giving you. That whole equipment might be worth nothing, but they have to assign value to it in order to make it worth something.
So I guess there is more to it that meets the eye. Well, Ejike Okpa, thank you so much for helping us understand this better.
Well, thank you for having me.
Beautiful.